Today is Wednesday, October 9th, and this is your forecast for the central United States. And clearly the big weather story on this Wednesday is the major hurricane that is approaching the Florida coastline. There will be a complete tropical outlook in a separate email, so keep an eye out for that, where I will have the very latest. I want to wait for the latest information, so I'm going to go through with the forecast for the rest of the central U.S. and talk about that hurricane in a separate email a little bit later. So don't think that I'm not going to talk about this potentially catastrophic storm. And I really don't even know if potentially is the right word to use, because it almost seems like a certainty that this storm is going to cause a life-threatening storm surge and cause widespread wind damage. All of that is a likely scenario as this major hurricane pushes inland across that part of Florida, mainly south of Tampa, it looks like, based on the latest information. High pressure is keeping much of the middle part of the country dry, but it's also north of a cold front. Pretty chilly this morning. We had some scattered frosts across the upper Great Lakes. Going to be a nice recovery this afternoon with temperatures climbing into the 60s. And look at this, you got the front like this, so south of that front, still pretty warm, 70s and 80s from Minneapolis down through Des Moines. We're in the 70s with sunshine. This is gorgeous weather here for this point in October. Near 75 for Cincinnati and Louisville, closer to 80 for Nashville, Memphis, and St. Louis, but all enjoying a lot of sunshine. Ups and downs, that's what you see in the spring and fall, right? So we're a little cool right now in Detroit and throughout much of Michigan, but we're going to warm up for a day or two, and then we're going to be cooling down pretty significantly the way it looks right now for next week. So get ready for some real fall weather, and probably if you haven't turned on the heat yet, you're going to have to for sure, I think, next week. So a little bit of a warm up here in Chicago. We could actually see 80s again before we cool down with highs in the 50s early next week. As we move down to the southeast, we're looking at highs generally in the 70s, so a little bit cooler. Lots of clouds around through Savannah and Charlotte, maybe an isolated thunderstorm. We get tropical storm conditions pretty close to you guys later tonight and going into tomorrow morning. The majority of the action passing well south, though, of Savannah. Tampa, you're in for it here later tonight. We're already seeing conditions by this afternoon going downhill in a hurry. A major hurricane, historic, unlike anything probably any of us have seen in our lifetime, hitting this part of central Florida in the overnight hours. Outside of that, it's sunshine and highs in the 70s and 80s throughout the rest of the deep south. For Charlotte, with the clouds around the next couple of days and even some showers, it's going to be a little bit cooler, but we'll warm up for the weekend with highs in the mid and upper 70s. Fort Lauderdale, you have a flood watch and a tropical storm warning in effect. Passing rain this afternoon, but the rain becomes heavy at times overnight. The winds increase, and we could have some tropical wind gusts in excess of 50 or 55 miles per hour through the overnight. That could cause some power outages, mainly isolated in nature. The storm will move away. We're still in the 80s and breezy over the weekend, and back into the mid and upper 80s, that is, for early next week. All right, that is your very busy Wednesday morning update. Remember, keep an eye out for that email specific about Hurricane Milton. And remember, one last thing, that as long as you want there to be, there will always be a 100% chance of good things.